Happy Festivus, everybody. Today we have a very special Festivus crossover with the host of Locked On White Sox, Locked On Detroit Tigers, and Locked On Stupid Rangers. Let's get into it, you guys. All right, with that, let's bring some people on. First, we're going to go with Nick Morawski of Locked On White Sox, and then followed by Scotty Bentley of Locked On Tigers, followed by Bryce Patrick of Rangers. Happy Festivus, everybody. How's everybody doing? Wave, everybody, wave. Cool. We did that. Wonderful job. So for people that are not familiar with Festivus, what we're basically doing is a 25-year-old joke from Seinfeld, and we're just making content out of it. Myself and Bryce down over there, we have done this 3 years in a row where we just sit here and we complain about our teams, and then we do Feats of Strength where we nominate our biggest home run slugger and determine who's going to hit the most home runs in the next season. I think that I win every year because these have been good, but this year this might have a chance. And then we're adding a new wrinkle this year because we looked something up, and we're doing Festivus Miracles, which are explained as, or defined as, easily explainable events that we declare miracles. And so we're going to take a look at the coming season and declare some things Festivus Miracles for our teams. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for making Locked On A's and Locked On White Sox and Locked On Tigers and Locked On Rangers even your first stop of the day. We're available on every platform. Let's go around and tell everybody where we can be found on social media. I'm at ByJasonB on Twitter, and Locked On A's on Twitter and on Instagram. Nick, where can people find you?
On Twitter at Nick_GGTB, and Locked On Sox on Twitter, just at Locked On Sox.
Scotty, down there, what do we got for you?
Twitter at Bentley Scotty, and then the Locked On Tigers account is at Locked On Tigers, and then I also do Locked On Red Wings if you're a hockey fan, so at LO_Red Wings.
And then Bryce, where can the people find your coverage of the Texas Rangers?
You can find me on Twitter at Bryce Patrick, and you can find the show at Locked On Rangers as well. We got the first one, and not the hockey Rangers.
That's always the fun thing. And when I'm trying to look up people to tag, I'm like, okay, do they have the first one, or do I have to go LO_? Is it all one? What am I looking for here? It gets confusing. But that's a different thing that I can complain about. I have plenty to complain about the A's. But first, let's start off because I'm very intrigued to hear what Bryce Patrick has to complain about because his team just signed Jacob deGrom. I want to know what you got on your plate here. I know generally where the other two guys are going. Bryce, what are you complaining about here? Where are your grievances with this team?
Well, my grievances with this team aren't as much with the team. It's more with the world. You know, for many, many years, people have forgotten that the Texas Rangers used to be really, really good at baseball. I mean, I forgot that too. But I feel like
I
there's
will never forget that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. 2011 ended great for us, so nothing went wrong there. But I feel like the Rangers aren't getting enough respect. We're disrespected. This is one of the better rotations in all of baseball by adding Jacob deGrom, by adding Andrew Heaney. They have 5 legitimately good starters and then some really nice depth if somebody gets hurt, which seems entirely possible with Dane Dunning kind of sitting in there as the number 6 starter. The lineup is really darn good. The team had a bad record last year, but had a much, much better Pythagorean record. A horrible run of one-run games where they lost 30-1, I believe, maybe 10, 12, just an awful record. But this team is much, much better on paper than people think. There has been a lot of crapping on the Rangers for, oh, look at this team spending money again for no reason. Blah, 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 blah. It's so stupid. Why would you spend money on good players? And I'm kind of fed up with it. Like, this team should be good. They are trying to be good. And people need to realize, I think they will this year, that the Rangers are going to be a dangerous, dangerous team next year.
Okay, so Bryce, you guys spent money on good players. Scott, last offseason, you guys signed Javi Baez. What's that about? Give me some of your grievances.
That was a heck of a transition, let me just say. I mean, this is a very impatient fan base at this point, rightfully so. And yeah, it's year 7 of a rebuild, and we're still pretty much major league record wise. Like, we haven't really taken any steps forward from year 1 to year 7, which is obviously very frustrating. And yeah, last off season was the first time that this team spent money, period, in like 5 or 6 years. And it was on Javi Baez, who did not have a very good year whatsoever, one of his worst offensive seasons of his career, along with leading the league in errors. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, who went MIA and didn't communicate with the team. And I'm not sure how it wasn't a bigger story. He just completely left and stopped having contact with the front office for 3 months, and then just like reappeared. He wasn't hurt or anything, just kind of dipped. So yeah, it was a heck of a season. Like, the most unimaginable things you can ever think of happened all in 1 year for Detroit, and it was certainly highlighted by the 2 big free agent signings that we had last year. Yeah.
So congrats on that. As an A's fan, I enjoy your misery, but also the A's haven't been doing much, to vault themselves over the Tigers in that same span of time. They've made
haven't
the
been
playoffs,
over the
but not like
Tigers
done
in my
much.
lifetime. We can talk about the postseason if you want. It's been a while since the A's have been over the Tigers.
I mean, yeah. Let's not do that. Let's talk about a different team that the A's have been over in the postseason, going to the White Sox over here, and they signed a player in Andrew Benintendi, who I don't know if he's good or bad. He's middle of the road, maybe above average. I don't know. Tell me why you're excited about him and what your grievances are with the White Sox and all of that stuff, Nick.
Well, Benintendi, lefty bat. We need a corner outfielder because the folks that were playing the outfield this past season, one of them was a natural first baseman, and Andrew Vaughn, and the other was Eloy Jimenez, who couldn't stay healthy just walking from the outfield into the dugout. He would, a lot of non-contact injuries. So we needed an outfielder. We needed a corner outfielder. And if somebody were to say, hey, Sox have got to be, one of those teams that have a, $150, $200 million contract somewhere in their history, right? They're a big market team. I would say no. The Chicago White Sox are actually one of the 3 or 4 teams in all of baseball that have never given out a $100 million contract. And before this signing, Yasmani Grandal was our biggest contract ever. 4 years, $73 million. And now Andrew Benintendi is our largest contract ever at 5 years, $75 million. Look, the Sox have a lot of holes to fill. They had one of the most disappointing seasons in franchise history. We had a manager that should have never been the manager. Unfortunately, you have to take a leave of absence due to health issues. We were predicted to be not only winning the AL Central, but advance in the playoffs. None of that happened. Bad chemistry, just bad performance, injuries left and right. And you got a general manager that's saying to the fan base, don't look at us to throw money at problems to fix things. Yet that's exactly what they've done so far. It's thrown money at Mike Clevenger early to, get a 5th starter and throw money at Benintendi. So confusing stuff. This team should be good on paper. They look like they can still compete, but we need management to step up and fill a lot still.
I mean, it feels like the White Sox should be a lot better than they have been. I mean, maybe Andrew Benintendi gets it there, and left field defense has really been what's been hurting you guys. But from an A's standpoint, I don't know where to begin, honestly. You guys know the cycle that A's front office goes through all the time. Every few years, they're trading a bunch of guys away. We just traded Sean Murphy this week as we are recording this. It'll be a week and a half away as you guys are hearing this. They might move the team to Vegas. I don't know. Rob Manfred likes to throw his weight around on this issue, and the A's have moved very far with the city of Oakland. They have done nothing with Las Vegas in about a year and a half. So I'm intrigued to see what they think Vegas has to offer them that they haven't offered already. I mean, we'll see. Also, I'm grieved that the Astros won the World Series. It's not
Same.
really like a thing that the A's are at fault for, but really, who else was going to stop them? The Rangers, the Angels? No, it should have been the A's, and they didn't. So I'm aggrieved at that as well. That is my grievance with this team. There's a lot, but trading everybody away, maybe moving the team. Those are the big two that I can name off the top of my head.
They're pretty big.
But those are pretty big. Coming up, we're going to be doing Feats of Strength. But Bryce, I think you got some words for us.
I do. This episode is brought to you by the NHTSA. You're hanging out with some friends, putting back a few drinks, and a few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think of calling for a ride. But nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
And with that, welcome back to this special Festivus episode of Locked On A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers. I'm not trying to keep you last every time. You're just in the bottom right. That's just how I read is all it is here, Bryce. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, all of our shows are available on YouTube. So go check out YouTube and subscribe, like, comment on all of those. Because if you're a fan of the A's, White Sox, Rangers, there you go, Bryce, or Tigers, then commenting down below on YouTube is how it helps the show grow, because YouTube has a weird algorithm, and that is what does it, apparently. So comment below and say, wow, this is what I ask my listeners to do. Say, wow, you four gentlemen are so good at baseball and so handsome. So comment that down below, and let's see if we can get some engagement down there. But let's talk about the Feats of Strength. Usually, when Bryce and I have done this in the past with a myriad of hosts, we nominate just our best power hitters. I don't know who's going to still be on the team still, so I have 3, and I'll go over those guys here in a minute. But let's start with you, Scotty.
You only get one.
I'm going to nominate one at the end, but I have 3 choices, and I'm going to let everybody know.
By the way, I won last year. I nominated Corey Seager, and he had 33 home runs this year, which is more than, I don't remember who you nominated, but it's more than anybody who had on the A's. So I think I won that one.
1-1. Okay. All right. Scott, who is your Feat of Strength champion going to be?
This is a really, really bad question for me. I feel like I should not be a part of this conversation. I genuinely feel like I should leave the show and come back when this segment is over. This is not me at all.
So, Scott, who is your best contact hitter?
I would still leave the show. There is no part of offense that you could ask me for, and I would be positive. No, this was one of the worst power hitting teams of the modern era. I'm not sure people really realize just how bad the Tigers offense was. It wasn't pretty bad. It wasn't maybe one of the worst in baseball. It was one of the worst offenses in modern baseball. And that started with the fact that we were dead last in home run totals and a large amount behind 29th as a team home run total. It wasn't like we only missed out by a couple of homers of being 29th either. I think our leading home run hitter this year was Javi, and he ended with 17 or 18. And that was got kind of hot in September. I think with 2 weeks left, we didn't have anybody who had 15. And I think in August, we didn't have anyone in double digits. So it was a complete train wreck. It will continue to be a complete train wreck. We have not added a single Major League bat so far, and it's December 17th at the time of this recording. So I guess I'll go Javi, but he could hit 13 and probably lead next year's team in homers. So
What about like
I don't I
Spencer
don't I don't plan on
Torkelson?
beating
He's
any
good.
of y'all, but I'm glad you got me first and out of the way early so that I can let the actual competition begin.
Oh, why? Thank you. Why ceding the ground to the actual competition in the A's? No.
Right.
Nick, you've got some interesting guys. You got a lot of guys that can hit the crap out of the ball. Who is going to be your nominee from the White Sox?
Yeah, we had a power outage on the south side this past season. Nobody got to 20 home runs on the White Sox. Our high water mark was 17. Andrew Vaughn, who is going to be taking over Jose Abreu since they let him walk. He had 17. He also had RBIs as well. I don't think he's going to be the guy, though. I think he's going to have a good year. I think with the fact that Eloy Jimenez is not going to be forced to roam left field anymore, and he's actually going to be a DH, I could see him staying healthy, hopefully, and hitting 40-plus home runs. Between him and Luis Robert, if Robert could stay healthy as well, another guy that Sox fans have not seen healthy for a full season. Between them two, we've got some mashers. We really do. It's just all about health. So I'm going to pick Eloy Jimenez. He wants to play left field, but the fact that they just gave Andrew Benintendi the largest contract in White Sox history, there's not going to be a hybrid situation of Jimenez and Benintendi out there. Jimenez is going to be your DH, and I think he's my guy. He's going to hit 40 home runs if he stays healthy.
I like it. I mean, you could also just trade Eloy to the A's. That'd be fine. So I'll throw him in left field and you can laugh at him if you want to. That'd be great.
That
I will
left
take
field,
Eloy
that
Jimenez off
vast
your
left
hands.
field. Oh my goodness! You've seen the video of him getting trapped in the net down the left field line. Maybe you haven't, but he was
like
roaming for a foul ball, and he couldn't make the play, and ended up getting tangled up in the net. It's a whole thing.
I think that he got hurt against the A's playing left field twice in the same season. Once was in spring training, and then later on. And I'm like, we don't play this team very often. What are the chances? What are the odds of that happening?
He got hurt celebrating. He got hurt celebrating near the mound after we won a game or something. He jumped and came down wrong on his knee. He's a mess. So I'm not saying he'll stay healthy even as the designated hitter. With all these rule changes, if we could figure out a designated runner, I'm just going to run for you. As soon as there's contact, I'm your runner. But he's got the power though. He's got the potential. So he's my guy.
I feel like you guys just signed Billy Hamilton, so there's your designated runner. But
that would be a great thing. Larger base path, bases, and you've got Billy Hamilton as your designated runner. That'd be perfect for us.
I'm constructing your team for you, but
you
Bryce, who do you got? You won with Corey Seager last year. You got Marcus Semien over there, and that's just rude of you. I don't know. Who are you going to pick? It's probably going to be the winner because we got one guy that's got a Javi Baez and then another one that is hoping for health from a guy that has not stayed healthy historically. So who's going to be your person? And then I got some guys. Watch out.
Well, I mean, the Rangers had a pretty good. This just feels like flexing at this point. I'm not intentionally trying, but the Rangers had 4 different players with 26 or more home runs. Semien had 26, and he didn't hit his first until a grand slam in Oakland in one of the last days of May. It was a horrific start to the season for him. So I think I'm going to go with Marcus Semien. I mean, he ended up with 26 bombs, despite that, just honestly, you could not script a worse. Just everything was horrible for him for the first full 2 months with the Rangers. He got it all figured out, was really, really good in the back half of the season. Seager set a career high, had never had more than 26. He finished this year with 33, which was a record for the most by a left-handed hitting shortstop. I will give any of you $20 if you can tell me who had the record with the most home runs from a primarily left-handed shortstop in Major League history.
Oh, in history? Jesus.
He's an active player, and he has played for the Rangers.
Ooh, IKF, baby. Is he
Left-handed.
righty? Yeah, is he righty? I'm like, I don't know.
He also his career high is like 6. So no.
Yeah, he's also not good. That was where I was going.
Think of any Rangers shortstops that aren't.
He hasn't.
Elvis
He
Andrus.
hasn't. I'll give you this. He hasn't played shortstop for the Rangers. He's played third base,
Oh.
left field, and first.
Oh God.
Rougned
Okay.
Odor.
Oh, God,
Nope, never played short, and wasn't primary. I'll spoil it for you. Brad Miller had it with
yeah.
30
Man.
with the Rays. I was completely shocked when he broke this record. I was like, "Is that really?
Weird.
There just been that few shortstops who were left-handed,
Yeah.
and Corey Seager is one of them." But no, I think it's going to be Marcus Semien. It could be Nathaniel Lowe, and I kind of wanted to go wild card Mitch Garver, who had 10 in his 54 games, and he is hurt he only DH'd for like half the year, and then had surgery on his elbow. But I'm going to go with Semien. Feels like a much safer bet.
I'm gonna say that you selected Jonah Heim because he is a favorite of mine. So
I love Jonah.
Heim is your selection. Cool.
That's fine. Honestly, fine. He might
So-
have 25 next year.
Yeah, he might still lead all of our guys anyway. So for the A's, I don't know where to go. Last year, the team leader was Seth Brown. He had 25. And he's probably going to, if he's still on the team, probably going to lead the team again. But there's also, is he going to be on the team? So I had to come up with some other solutions here. Dermis Garcia, lots of power, struck out 44% of the time. So I assume that the opportunity isn't going to be there for him, but he hit 5 home runs in like 100 and something at bats. So he could do it if he gets like 500 or 600 at bats. He could have like a 30 homer season. He's got the tools and lots of power. And then the A's also selected Ryan Noda in the Rule 5 draft. He hit 25 home runs in AAA. So 25 is really my baseline here. I'm going to go ahead and say that the A's do not trade Seth Brown. I'm going to be optimistic about something. Super optimistic about something. It's
Look
going
at
to be
you.
a Festivus miracle if Seth Brown is still on this team. But I'm going to go Seth Brown. But those are the other guys that are boppers. Also, they got Esteury Ruiz, and he hit a bunch of like 16 home runs in AAA last year. I think that he's going to steal more bases than any of your power hitters hit. But yeah, I think that it's probably going to be Seth Brown.
Well, Semien steals bases now, so because he's not on the A's.
Ha ha ha. Glad that we could do this another time, Bryce. All right. Coming up on the show, we're going to be explaining just regular things that happen in day-to-day life as miracles, Festivus miracles. So stay locked in, you guys. And so for YouTube people, there's no ads. We just jump straight into it. We're back again doing some of this. So I think it's Wikipedia. You got this from, Bryce?
It is.
It
is my
defines
source.
it as easily explained events that are declared miracles or miraculous. These are
Festivus miracles.
And so I'm gonna start this time. Screw it. I'm gonna go ahead and say that people showing up to A's games, Festivus miracle, because ownership is really. I'm not saying that the A's don't deserve our love. I love the A's. I will support the A's, but going to games is harder for me because of the baby. But also, ownership is making it so that it's harder to go. Prices have doubled since they traded everybody. They're talking about maybe moving to Vegas, and also they just traded everybody away. Why should people want to go to A's games? So that's where the Festivus miracle comes in. People, I assume there will be a handful of people that go, but I think that it'll take a small holiday miracle for it to happen. I don't know where I haven't started. Bryce, have I started with you on one of these? I'll start with you this time.
Sure. So we're going for Festivus miracles that will happen, or Festivus miracles past.
It's up to you. I don't care.
Well, I'm going to go Festivus miracle of the past and say keeping Corey Seager healthy was a Festivus miracle. He has not been a guy. He's been a guy who's been really snake bitten by random injuries. He has not played more than 150 games before this year since his rookie year in 2016. He had another season where he had 145 games. But other than that, he only had one other season where he played 100-plus games. The Rangers did a really good job of keeping him healthy. His splits from at home versus on the road were like 200 points different OPS wise. Loved hitting at Globe Life Field. Won a World Series there, won a World Series MVP. I think that's a big chunk of why he signed with Texas. That, and they gave him $325 million, which sure helps. But if I'm hoping for a Festivus miracle for next year, it would be a healthy Jacob deGrom season. Let's just parlay that health into good things for next year.
Good luck with that one, Bryce. I mean, let's rate on your parade a little bit. I don't have his stat line in front of me, but he has faced the A's once at the Coliseum. Just once in general. 4 innings, gave up like 6 runs, I believe. 5 or 6 runs. It was a bad outing. Ken Waldichuk got his first win of his career against Jacob deGrom, and now he's just sitting there waiting to be beaten again and again by one Ken Waldichuk. I'm very excited about Ken Waldichuk.
I really wanted him at the deadline, honestly, and I was pissed that you got him.
His other win in his professional career came on the final day of the season against Shohei Ohtani. So,
wow, ace killer.
Yeah, ace destroyer right here. I am A's built for the future right now.
And future Ranger Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, we'll see about that. And now we can put that all in our titles as defeat the algorithm, everybody. Also comment below and say how handsome we are. Nick, let's go over to you. What miracle do you think might happen on the South Side?
A miracle that the Chicago White Sox front office and organization continue to spend actual American dollars in this competitive window. It has been a little over 6 years since they traded away Chris Sale for Yoan Moncada and Michael Kopech. The great rebuild began. They have never went and got that capstone piece. We thought they were going to really go after Manny Machado. They tried to do it on their terms. They were also supposed to be in on Bryce Harper. That didn't happen. There's been a bunch of other talented guys that they never really paid premium money for premium talent. So, you see them throw money at Andrew Benintendi. We'll see if that actually works out, but a miracle would be if they actually continued to spend and maybe went after Gene Segura or got some more catching depth. We will see, but there are a lot of holes, and we have a ton of talent on this team for 2023. They were embarrassed last year. The general manager has got his guy now finally in place, and Pedro Grifol is the new manager. Keep spending money. That would be an absolute miracle for Southside fans.
I do have an option to fulfill that miracle that actually ties into 3 of our 4 teams, and that would be to bring back the great Elvis Andrus. I was so happy to see him thrive with the White Sox and to be disrespected by having to wear an A's uniform. Very upsetting for me personally.
He didn't like it either, apparently.
He was a huge fan favorite, Bryce. I mean, for his limited time in a White Sox uniform, he did all the right things. And, there were so many bad moments. He was looked at as the guy that, played hard, actually cared. And it was like, this guy hasn't been around that long. And he's like all of a sudden the clubhouse leader. So there's a huge swell to bring him back, but move him to second base.
Yeah, Rangers still love him, like part of the greatest teams in Rangers franchise history. Want nothing but good things for that guy.
Yeah, we
and apparently playing in Oakland, not one of those nice things.
I said nice things. That's not a nice thing.
I did love Elvis Andrus. He was always having fun playing the game. And there was a couple of times where he got tagged out, and he was in a rundown one time, and he got tagged, and they called interference or something like that, and he got to score. I forget the exact. It was 2 years ago, but it was very, very heads up play on his part, and good job to Elvis Andrus for getting that one run in Minnesota, I believe. So that was fun. Scott, I feel like you got a lot of miracles in your back pocket. What are we going with here?
Yeah, so mine, when I was thinking about how I wanted to articulate my miracle, I think I Mine is just going to be literally anything good to happen. I think that's going to be pretty much my miracle. I'm not kidding. If this team was like the Yankees or like a big market team where like everything that happened was national news, a lot more people would truly realize how absolutely unparalleled this season was to anything we've ever seen before on a like daily basis. Um, yeah, I just want like something good to happen. They're literally like the only thing I think that we really could hang our hat on last year was Chris Fetter, the new pitching coach. New, he's been here 2 years now, but newer addition to the pitching staff, and he's widely considered to be one of the best pitching coaches in the league. And we have a lot of young pitching talent that was I guess solid last season. That's like the big thing. So yeah, like I just want anything positive to like happen on the baseball field, whether that's like Torkelson, figuring it out and taking a big step forward, whether that's Riley Green taking a big step forward, whether that's like Javi living up to what we paid him to be, whether that, I mean, like not having a worse offense than like the 114 and 119 lost teams that I've seen in my lifetime. Like anything good would just be great. So I'm not going to be too specific because I don't need to be, and that's the luxury and the pleasure and the privilege that I have.
I mean, on the bright side, Matthew Boyd back with the team, so that's nice. Is that good? I don't know. I think that's good. Nice, enjoyable.
You know what? Ask the fans in this city. You're gonna get a different answer pretty much with every person you ask. I'd say amazing human being. That's undisputable. Great dude. But yeah, the fact that we've made 2 major league additions this offseason after having one of the worst offenses any of us have ever seen, and neither of them are bats, is definitely a decision that has been made. So,
well, if you hold the opposition to 0 runs, you got a shot. So there's that.
there you go. We can just drag it into extra innings when we lost like all of our extra inning games last year.
Oh man,
I think that's like the most depressing answer we've had, like in the history of this series. Like that was like hats off to you. Like that was. I'm really sorry for you, man.
Super depressing. Yep. That's my mantra right there. Yeah.
You nailed it, man. Gosh.
So I do have to say, the last time that I think I talked to you, Scott, we did a crossover, and I believe I titled the YouTube episode, "Are the Tigers going to be a good team in 2022?" Because I was like optimistic about the team, and I feel so bad for doing that now, and like getting expectations up or hopes. I don't know. So
there were a lot of hopes, and like after last offseason, like if it was like universally agreed on from like all the national outlets, I thought like, yeah, no, the Tigers had a better offseason than the Rangers. Like they're gonna be way better than them, and I was like, I don't know about that, but I didn't see this. Actually, I think the Rangers were only 2 wins better, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is not going to make you feel any better, but we were, as Sox fans, we were like, watch out for Tigers this year. You got AJ Hinch, who we were supposed to get. That was supposed to be our manager that our general manager wanted. Instead, the owner pushed La Russa down our throats. But you guys have the young pitching. We were like, oh, man, things are aligning. And they spent money on Baez, but we kind of knew just from seeing them on the north side what you guys were going to get in Baez. But we were scared. But you guys got hit with the injury bug, didn't you?
Yeah, that would be an understatement. Yeah, I would say yes. That's definitely that definitely did not help. We had, I want to say, we ended the season with 18 or 19 different players record a start on the mound, which was comfortably the most in baseball. Almost 20 different starting pitchers used, and then offensively, we set the American League record for team like getting shut out the most in a single season. So there you go for just like everything. The only thing that was good was the bullpen. Everything else was pretty bad. Yeah, like when it comes to managing like expectations, like it was definitely a letdown for us. But I think the White Sox and or the Giants were probably the 2 teams that, like, when you consider like preseason expectations, I mean, I'm with you. I would say that those two, and then us kind of like in the tier below the, you and the Giants are probably like the, disappointing. Just a lot went wrong this year for a lot of people presently talking. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before our team spent any money, we were all about, like, our big thing was everyone's gonna return to accustomed levels. Watch this. Wait and see.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna get healthy. We're just gonna return to form. That's our big off season. So
Same.
I wanted. This is a fun thing that I'm just going to throw at you guys. So the A's stink. Throw out your win projections for the 2023 Oakland A's. I want to get them on record right now, and then we can talk about them when you're wrong. So that'll be fun. Here we go. Let's start with Bryce, just because you're in the division and whatnot, and you're more familiar, I guess.
Ooh, I am familiar. We're starting from a baseline of 60 wins this year, which is not good. I will give you that.
6th overall pick. So there's that.
We got more wins than you and have a higher draft pick.
I know, it sucks. And also, you guys have had so many more like number 1 picks. I'm tired of you guys getting all the number 1 picks. It doesn't seem to be helping, but I'm tired of it.
So let's see. I'm surprised that Cole Irvin's still on the team, honestly. I thought that like literally every pitcher with the pulse that was like okay was going to be gone. Nope. It only took till midseason for Frankie Montas to get traded. There are some other good players. I mean, I really, really like Shea Langoliers. I think he's going to be really good. I would hope that the A's hold on to Seth Brown. I'm not as hopeful as you, but I'm saying I think this is probably going to be, I think, a 62 win team next year. I like some of the young talent, and if you're not trading like literally everybody off for scraps, which has been the A's way, they didn't do that as much this year. But I'm saying just a little bit better because I saw Langoliers in college when he and Josh Young were playing as freshmen, and I thought that kid's going to be a big leaguer. And well, he's right.
Here he is.
Here he is. I mean, it wasn't hard to see that he was those two were the best kids on the field. But yeah, I think the A's are going to be really scrappy and really annoying and hand the Rangers quite a few. I think at least one, probably 2 series losses in Oakland that's going to have me tearing my hair out. Like, why are you losing to this crap team in like the middle of the season?
And then all of a sudden they're going to be in the playoffs, and you're going to be sitting there with all of your money that you spent.
This isn't 2012 again. We're not doing that again.
Oh, were you going to win the division this year?
If you did that to the Astros, what you did to us in 2012, I feel like that would appease my baseball soul.
Yeah, that baseball needs that.
But 2012 had actual good players on it, so I don't know.
Like Josh Reddick?
Yes, noted elite Hall of Famer.
What happened in the postseason in 2012?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know. I blanked out
for everybody here.
So in 2012, the A's weren't in first until the last game of the season when they overtook the Texas Rangers. They swept them to finish the season, pushing the Texas Rangers to the first ever wild card game.
And very painful.
And then in a weird twist of events, the wild card, as we said, was just invented that year. So the playoffs had to have a weird schedule that year. And so the A's, even though they were the higher seed, had to start the first 2 games on the road in Detroit. And that's stupid. So they lost.
The Rangers also lost in the wild card, and in that wild card game because they pulled Yu Darvish too early to the freaking Orioles, which, by the way, the 2012 team, in my opinion, was the best Rangers team in franchise history, and they lost that series to the A's. Not only did they get swept, but it was in very, very painful fashion, like an error, like a really notable error. It was either the next to last game or last game by Josh Hamilton.
That was the last game.
Yeah, okay, that was the last game. That basically let in the winning runs. And then I believe that offseason was when he bolted to Anaheim, called Texas a football town, or the Dallas area a football town, and then proceeded to suck really badly for the Angels. So, and that was the dark times.
Yes. So, Scott, where do you think, what's your win prediction for the A's real quick?
I'm I guess a little more bullish. Like I think that they are, they obviously the national headlines are always like, oh look, the A's are gonna sell anybody with a pulse and whatnot. And I think one thing that I don't know how much of an effect it'll have on the like bad teams in baseball as much as it will the good teams. But like next year, we have to remember is the first year that everybody plays everybody and you play your division less. And so I don't know. In my eyes, like anytime you remove games off your schedule against the Houston Astros, like that's a good thing. So I think that might be like a little bit, even though there will be obviously other good teams that you have to play, but there will also be a lot of other bad teams that you now have to play that you usually wouldn't
Come
play.
on,
So
NL Central.
correct, yeah, more games against the AL Central is always a good thing. So I think I'm at like a 68-ish like win total. I think I'm in like the high 60s. I still don't expect them to be like uber competitive in the second half of the season or anything, but you know that they're the A's. Like they'll find a way to get like production out of people that outside of you like people have like never heard of before, and they'll get some solid fun late night games. Well, for me, late night games where over on the coast, finishing at 1 a.m. where they hit a walk-off homer against the Angels or something. So, I think it'll be like a high 60s win total. Oh, also, Bryce, this is a pro Jung family podcast. You said that name, and I was like, yeah.
It's by the way, it's Young.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Love me some
Jace
Jace Young.
You had the older brother of the tandem. Yeah.
Mm.
Nick, real quick, what is your win prediction for the Oakland Athletics?
Oh, I'll split the difference between Bryce and Scott and say maybe like 65, somewhere around there. Scott brought up some good points. I mean, everybody's playing everybody, and you've got some rule changes. I don't know your team as well as I should. If there are some guys that are going to take advantage of the shift ban, how will that maybe increase? Could you scrape a couple wins here and there? It's going to be an interesting year. It really is for us to not play in our division as much, and the travel that might go into it. But yeah, I mean, see if some of your young guys can rise up to the challenge, return to accustomed levels, and stay healthy. Maybe around 65.
I'll take anything. I don't want another 100 loss season. That's all I'm going for.
Ugh,
I don't want to be
suck.
like Scott.
They're bad.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not used to them. This last season was the first one that the A's have had since like the late 70s. So hadn't happened in my lifetime, and now I have one. So that's great. Anyways, that's the show for today. Thank you guys all so much for making Locked On A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers your first listen of the day. Now go make Locked On Sports Today your second listen, because Peter Bukowski is super handsome and he brings you the biggest stories around the sports world in 20 minutes. Get the analysts and opinions before anyone else with our local and national experts and insiders. Locked On Sports Today. It's a podcast. It's available on YouTube and wherever you get podcasts. All of these shows, A's, White Sox, Tigers, and Rangers, are also available on YouTube. Go subscribe, like, and comment on each of our channels, because we're all very, very good and we're trying so hard. But before we sign out, I am at by Jason B on Twitter. You can find the show at Locked On A's on Twitter and Instagram. Nick, where can people find you one more time?
Find me at Nick_GGTB on Twitter, and the show at Locked On Sox.
Scotty, what about you?
At Bentley Scotty on Twitter is my personal, and then at Locked On Tigers. Almost said Red Wings there. Tigers for the show.
And Bryce, where can people find you?
You can find me at Bryce Patrick on Twitter and at Locked On Rangers for the show for some toxic positivity. Hopefully, I'm wishing toxic positivity on all of you this season so we can have fewer legitimate reasons to air our grievances next year, but still find some anyway.
Oh, we're going to find so many throughout the course of the season. It's going to be great. That's what being a baseball fan is. If your team blows any lead, your bullpen is trash. So that's baseball fandom for you. But that's the show. Happy Festivus, everybody. Go out and celebrate good times, baseball fans, and we'll all talk at you soon.